Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show, year 2023, first episode of season 5. I am super excited to be back in the studio, super excited to kick off another great year, another season of the show. We have really just a lot in store for the season this year. So many guests already lined up. We've got events happening. You'll have to stick around and see everything we've got lined up. There's so much happening. But before we get to all of that, which you'll find out more by following us on social media, our website, etc., we're going to have our first interview of the year, and none other than Brock Miller of LA Custom Kayaks. And this year, our episodes are going to be brought to you by some amazing sponsors that have stuck with us year over year. We've got Government Taco, Falaya Real Estate, Lakeman's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and we're sticking with some outfits of the day by McLavy Limited. Thank them so very much for being a part of the show and making this thing happen year over year. But without further ado, Brock Miller, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I was wondering if I was the first of the year. I guess that's a pretty high honor, so we got to have a good one here.
Dude, you're the first of the year, man, taking a 2-week leave, coming back strong. So it's either going to be a really great one or it's going to be a really bad one because we're having to dust off the shoulder pads and get back in the game, you know. So it could go either way.
Oh,
it's up
right
to you,
it.
But no pressure.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a good one. I appreciate you having me on. You know, I've been on a couple other podcasts, but this is a really cool experience. You know, to have this kind of to be asked to be on here as a younger guy, because I've watched a couple of episodes and it's Gordon and Ozzy with Izzo's and stuff, and so it was
you watched Ozzy's?
I didn't get to watch it yet. I saw he was on it though.
Okay, that's
but I actually know Ozzy, and a couple other guys over there at.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So do you know Conrad?
I do. So he's a member at our hunting camp. I met Conrad first, and then Ozzy came up a couple times. So,
Conrad's a good buddy of mine. We do a lot of accounting together.
Okay.
So
he's
my accounting partner, trying with the whole Go Weeds concept crew.
Shoot. During hunting season, I'm with him every single weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure.
Let
me know, and I'll text him and ask him where's my invite.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we'll get you up there.
So who are you, and what the heck do you do, man?
Yeah, so my name's Brock Miller. I started Louisiana Custom Kayaks back in July of 2020, so the COVID year. But I went to Cali right here in Baton Rouge, and then went to LSU. I got a degree over there in digital advertising and a minor in business. But halfway through my term at LSU, I started my business, which I'm sure we'll dive into. But
so this is a college started business.
Yep, it was, I guess, midway through sophomore year, I think, or summer before junior year is probably what it was.
Gotcha.
It all right around COVID, it all kind of blends together.
So now, did you graduate from LSU and finish that out, or you stopped and did this?
Yeah,
full-time?
I did. That was one of my things. I had a couple people telling me you better finish, you better do it. So I stuck to it. I can't say I was always focused on school and class. I was answering emails and building a website. But I did finish LSU. I graduated this past spring.
Okay, past spring.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a similar situation for you as you in LSU, where I was majoring in accounting and majoring in entrepreneurship, and then getting a minor in communications. And same as you in class, responding to emails because I was trying to get 2 different companies off the ground, always talking with people about different ideas. Mm-hmm. So from a student standpoint, I want to dive into that a little bit before we get into LA Custom Kayaks, what you actually do, because I think that part of the story is something that is important with how you got the ability to then go and do something on your own after college. How was the balancing act that is college and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, if you want to call it a balance. At times,
the attempt to balance.
Right, yeah. I mean, I always, try to keep my grades up and all that stuff too. But at sometimes it was like, all right, what do I focus more on, And, I still focused on school, but there were times where I was like, all right, this is like a very monumental thing that I need to figure out for the business, or, scheduling emails and learning things that tailor more towards my business rather than what was going on in class. But I also learned a lot of things in school, whether it's working with people. That was a big thing in the digital advertising and business side of things, was planning campaigns and just working together in a group setting, building connections. So I'm there's a few people out there who would say just go the entrepreneurial route, skip the school route. But I think, school has its place, and there's a lot you can take from, focusing on it and getting through it.
Yeah, if anything, I really used my 4 years at LSU as like a 4 years of just connecting and building with different people, whether it was professors, guest lecturers, or fellow students for that matter, building just this Rolodex of people from our mutual, kind of relationship with LSU and why we were there and learning. But hey, at the end of the day, you got to get like especially in the accounting career, like having that professional development, having that curriculum, having that schooling is important. But at the same time, for you as an entrepreneur, it's like, well, I really don't want to be studying for this, XYZ class right now when I should be doing something else for the business to further it and develop it.
Yeah. And I mean, some things are outdated that they go over now, but also I think that that kind of plants the seed, and then it's up to you to go, learn the newest, trend or how things are going, whether it's advertising or social media. So a lot of it, especially in the business and advertising world, I think you got to kind of look it up on your own and kind of learn it and do it.
So being in the advertising world, I mean, how did you even come up with the concept that you have now for LA Custom Kayaks?
So I've always, been in the outdoor space. Like we can go as far back as, when I was this tall, and fishing every day, in a pirogue in my grandparents' pond. So that was kind of like, I guess, my earliest form of kayak fishing. But I read an article. I was probably 11 or 12 at the time in Louisiana Sportsman about a guy that fished a kayak fishing tournament. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. The key part in the article was that he flipped the kayak and then he got back in and won the tournament or something like that. So when I pitched the idea to my parents, I made the mistake of telling them, oh yeah, the guy flipped his kayak. So now it's just red flags all over kayak fishing.
Yeah, I wouldn't start that way with your parents.
Right, yeah, but I was 12, so I was just amped up about it. But I fought him for a while, and I was like, come on, let me get a kayak. And finally, I bought a $250 kayak from Academy, and that's how I, got my feet wet. I remember catching my first, bass out of the pond with it. And then it just kind of evolved into, going to the marsh and fishing on the coast down here, especially with my dad, and down in Golden Meadow. And then, as with anything, as you get more involved with it, you're like, all right, well, what else can I do? What can I add to the kayak, or where can I take it and stuff? And it's really just, it became a snowball effect of, adding, fish finders and rod holders and all kinds of stuff to them. So before I ever even started the business, I was interested in kayaks and tricking them out and modifying them. So when, the idea came about to create my own business, it was like, well, I'm already doing this, so let me just do it for other people.
Yeah, you were the customer before you were the
right,
owner.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like looking up videos on what people have done before, and then it kind of just transitioned into the business.
So I mean, it's such a niche business, like decking out kayaks for fishing. Like first you got to find the people that are interested in kayaks, but then you got to find those folks interested in kayaks, interested in fishing, and then want to take it a step further and actually get a setup.
Right.
So I mean, from I guess a research model for your business developing and your business plan or your business model canvas, as they would teach you at LSU, what type of research did you do? What type of companies? I mean, are there any other companies locally around here that do exactly what you do?
Yeah, there are a few, and that's kind of what helped me, because we had talked about the Backpacker earlier. I'd worked there for a couple of years and actually did a little bit of rigging and selling products and stuff like that for them. But right when COVID hit, it was the big closing of stores like that and all the regulations and stuff. So a lot of the stores locally that did that stuff closed, but people don't have anything else to do except go fishing because it's right in the heat of the summer. So what happened was people would go fishing. They'd either break something or need something installed, and they'd reach out to me and be like, "Hey, can you do this?" I'm like, first couple, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then it just kind of snowballs, and I say this all the time. Like, I'd have one or two kayaks at the house at a time, and then I look in the backyard and there's like 8 of them back there, and my dad's like, all right, we need to find somewhere else to do this.
You need to go beyond the garage.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, locking up kayaks in the backyard with bike locks so they don't get stolen. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it really got started.
So, I mean, how are people finding you for this?
It's so I've kind of, like I said, always been in the kayak space. I mean, we have a really good kayak club. It's kind of based out of Baton Rouge, New Orleans, a little bit of Lafayette, called the Bayou Coast Kayak Fishing Club.
Okay.
And they host tournaments and events and, just get together. So I know a lot of people in that space, so, and I think that the Facebook group has like 5,000 or 6,000 people in it. So as soon as you put something in there, word travels fast. And then, it's just kind of building a customer base and relationships off of that.
Gotcha. So it was the Facebook group.
Yeah, I'd say Facebook groups, those are definitely what got me started. There's been, other things along the way, TikTok and YouTube, that have helped a lot, like helped me get outside of Louisiana. But for the most part, Facebook groups kind of kicked it off.
So what did your parents say whenever you told them you wanted to start this business in the heat of a global pandemic?
I don't know. It wasn't really. I guess they kind of just said go for it. I mean,
okay.
I wasn't.
Was there any entrepreneurial? Hang on, back up. Was there any entrepreneurial history in your family first?
Yeah. So
okay.
My dad, he worked in landscape and construction. Doing his own thing. So I guess that's definitely where I've gotten some entrepreneurial, I guess, spirit from. And I've also got uncles and other people in the family who've done similar things. And I've always just kind of, I guess, done my own thing throughout, as I've grown up. So it wasn't really a shock to them. They're like, hey, I'm going to go start a kayak fishing outfitting business. So they were like, you're passionate about it, go for it.
So is this your first business? You said you did some other things on your own. Is this is
so
LA Custom your first one, or is there something beforehand?
I don't know if you'd call them businesses, mowing yards and stuff like that.
Did you make money?
I did make money.
Okay.
So we'll call it a business, not professional in any way, but 12 years old pushing lawnmowers around and mowing yards. Anything to get money to buy fishing baits, I guess.
Dude, so I did the same. I feel like grass cutting, I don't know if it's a Louisiana thing or a Southern thing, but like grass cutting businesses for young guys is like the go-to business.
Oh, it is.
I was 11 years old when my brothers and I started our first lawn care business. My brother turned 16 and he got a truck, and we got a loan from our parents for the equipment. And sure enough, 11, 14 and 16-year-olds going around the town cutting people's grass.
Yeah.
Started out with like our track coaches and stuff like that. They were throwing us a bone saying, okay, I'll pay you $50, come cut my yard. But I mean,
they're coming behind you with a weed eater.
Oh yeah. They were watching us. They walk around the whole yard as we're cutting. He'd tell us, no, you missed a spot. Like, they were the hardest on us, which was great because we learned a lot. But
that's and you say Louisiana, I guess our grass grows 12 months out of the year. So
yeah, it's like a year-round thing to cut grass.
So I mean, it's the perfect thing for us. And I know I did that a couple times. I've sold fishing baits and taken people kayak fishing before.
You've done charter kayak fishing?
I wouldn't say charters. It's kind of one-off.
Did they pay you to go fishing?
No.
Good answer.
Yeah. We won't dive into that.
So
buddies taking buddies fishing.
There you go. Friends of friends.
Right, yeah.
They just fed you. That's
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So getting into this outdoor lifestyle of kayaking I still don't understand how you sold your parents by telling them the vessel in which you're purchasing flipped. Like that's your lead into.
Yeah, I
want to buy this thing that somebody flipped.
It might have taken a year, but I know it took months to. It was mainly my mom. My dad, he was cool with it, but she's, I was the first child, first baby, so she didn't want me doing anything like that. But I finally won them over, and I was looking back. I think I've been in it for 12 years, and I probably own like 12 or 14 kayaks through that kind of tenure. So that shows you, like, typically I would get one, modify it, sell it, get another one, modify it, sell it, and you kind of work my way up. Yeah. So sell it, sometimes make money, sometimes lose money, and then pile a little bit more money into it and get a nicer one.
I love it. So going and doing your first one for somebody, I mean, how did you begin to look at like a pricing model of, or did you do what was that process like, figuring out how to price it and what to charge people for doing something like that?
That was definitely a learning experience. Sometimes I felt like I was making a ton of money, and then other times it's like, well, I learned a lot. I didn't make quite as much money. And then, early on, like now I have accounts with, manufacturers and different, companies. But before it was like, all right, either you got to bring me your fish finder and battery that you want me to install, or I can go buy it. And then it's like, all right, well, do I charge them more since I bought it? So that was a big kind of learning curve on, what do I set my time at? What do I want to make off of this? And, some projects take 10 times longer than you think they will.
Yeah. Especially when it starts getting into the complex ones.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's definitely a learning curve. And then some you're like, well, it's going to be really cool when I post a TikTok of it, but I'm not going to make a bunch of money off of it.
So kind of stepping into that topic of TikTok, the story behind how I came to know about you was from that platform where you had commented on a video that Mallard Bay, or my buddy Logan Moe, had posted about him on the show talking about Mallard Bay. I saw you commented or got the notification or some sorts. And when I checked out your TikTok page, like, it's a serious page. Like, you've amassed quite an impressive amount of followers. And then I believe you were in a business report or a 225 article.
I think so.
And
that might have been with Nick, who we talked about earlier.
Possibly.
I think that was that.
I've talked about you before on Talk 107.3 FM with Brian Haldane. We read about your article about what you were doing, how this was a new thing, and it was right in 2021
I think so.
time frame. Yeah. So I had known you from both ways, and seeing you on TikTok, I was like, okay, I got to check this guy out. So walk us through exactly what you do on that platform.
Yeah, I'll go back to the beginning. So this was before the business, before anything. I think I was in Spanish class, so it had to have been freshman year, like first semester. Like this is like, I don't know. I heard about TikTok or something. It was like, it sounds like a bunch of dancing and all that. Whatever. I'll download it, and I like downloaded it, and I posted a video of a tarpon that I had caught. So a tarpon's a big 6 foot long fish. Not very many people catch them out of a kayak, so it was kind of something that was unique. So I posted it, and I closed the app. And like halfway through class, I checked my phone. I'm like, it's got 5,000 views. That's kind of a lot. I haven't gotten that on any other platform. Like, okay, I post a couple more.
And you had been posting on other platforms about like kayak fishing as a whole?
Yeah, because it was just like my passion. That's something I like sharing. A lot of people, like, to me, catching a redfish in a kayak, I do that all the time. Like, it's just another thing. But when I show somebody a video, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could catch redfish out of a kayak. So I've grown, with GoPros and, eventually nice Sony cameras and drones and stuff, just kind of captured, everything that I've done so far. So I had a stockpile of videos, and I start posting a few on TikTok, and then I post one, and it's like this one angle, and every time I post it, it just blows up, of this tarpon that I caught, and it ends up getting I think 6 million views or something crazy.
6 million.
And this was before anybody posted like fishing on TikTok.
So you were like the first. You were one of the first.
I had a buddy in Florida, who did something similar, and we both have I wouldn't say massive, but really good sized pages. So that's what I was like, man, maybe I should dedicate a little more time to this TikTok thing.
Maybe this TikTok thing.
Maybe it's not just dancing, And I think it's really grown since then, since its inception, I guess with Musical.ly or whatever it came from. And you see business people on it, your podcast is on it. So it's more than just, an entertainment kind of thing, I think now.
Well, yeah. And then when you get to the point where you're at, I'm sure are you in the TikTok monetization phase right now? I
did it for a little bit. I've done research, and some people say if you try to monetize, they kind of cut down on your how much they produce, broadcast your videos. So I've been on it, made $45 or so in the past.
Really retiring on that TikTok money.
I'm just stockpiling it. But I mean, really, it's crazy how I'll get somebody who emails me and was like, hey, I found you on TikTok. I'm like, really? You saw a TikTok video and now you're here, trying to buy a marine mat or something. So it definitely has become a tool, as I've started to use it more.
And they definitely taught you about that at LSU.
Oh,
your marketing
100%,
classes.
100%. No.
The power, the concept, the power of viral marketing, or viral campaigns.
Yeah, social media and stuff. And honestly, in a lot of these classes, that's something so new and evolving, that it's tough for a professor to teach on something that's changing every single day. You know, it's really, you have to do it. You got to be in the space. You have to realize the trends and jump on them.
And then also a lot of it's just sheer luck.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
who's to say that angle that you had from however long ago the video was going to be the angle that caught people's attention, you know?
Yeah. I've had some videos, like I'll spend, 5 hours trying to get something just right, and then I'll take a 5-second video that's just something random, and that gets 10 times more views.
And I've heard that time and time again, people that put all this time and attention and effort into getting the clips, the timing, the angles just right, and then it just way underperforms their expectations, and then they walk out and do a selfie video saying, "Look, the sun's rising this morning," and
that's it.
It's it.
And then your account's got all the traction it needs.
Yeah. Well, and with the traction, how are the views correlating to actual emails or DMs for getting people to purchase your products or purchase your services? I mean, at the end of the day, from a marketing standpoint, that's the goal, right? Get people to either see your content because you're monetizing it through sponsors or whatever, or get people to contact you via your platforms to want to do business with you.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's like a direct, I won't say 1,000 views gets me one email or something like that. But I've definitely seen that, the more people that see it, like I would say, I don't know, 1/10 of the people who follow me actually kayak fish or actually even fish. A lot of people are just like, oh, this is interesting, let me follow along. So I definitely think, it gives you a very broad, scope of different people that see your stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like the more people have eyes on your brand and your business is going to translate into more, conversions and emails and orders.
Yeah, it's getting the eyeballs on the product or the service in the long haul is going to get that return
and
on it.
A lot of people that reach out are like, I've never even heard of kayak fishing before, but now I want to check it out. So as far as just selling them a product, like that's great at the end of the day. But if I can just show more people about kayak fishing or Louisiana or whatever it is, then that's I guess that's a win too.
Well, and I think that content translates better. The real authentic content of I'm out here doing what I love, and just the fact that I want to do it and I just want to share it with people in hopes of maybe getting someone else to say, I started following your page, had no idea that this was a thing. Now I do it every weekend with myself, my kids, my brothers, whomever. And you see that that's building memories for people.
Yeah.
It's not just getting them to purchase their kayak services through you. It's getting people into that hobby, into that lifestyle to kind of, I guess, shine some more light on to where now I think Grand Isle does like straight kayak tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
Many times a year, which I believe you've won one, right?
Yeah. So that was another thing that kind of propelled me into the industry, the Ride the Bull tournament, which Rad with CCA. You haven't had him on yet,
I have not had the CCA on now.
I can hook you up with him. He's a good dude. He'd be a good one to have on. But yeah, so Ride the Bull was something that was actually like one of the first tournaments I ever fished. And the funny thing was, I never caught a fish during the tournament until the time I won, and I've never caught a fish during the tournament after. So
you caught it when it counts.
That's it. So to kind of paint the picture, Ride the Bull is in Grand Isle. It's out of Bridgeside Marina, and I think the record's like 730 people came out and fished that tournament.
730 people,
and I think that was like 2014 or 2015. But basically, they send everybody out.
Where did they park?
Oh, everywhere.
Like just from a logistics standpoint.
You have to get there like 3 hours early to get parked.
I would imagine even, like, do some people just kayak there from places?
Some people do, and they've gotten in trouble because they've just kind of kayaked across and like, oh, I'll just stop here, and now they're there when we're supposed to blast off. But basically, it's a bull red rodeo. But the unique thing is there's chase boats that go around, and so when you catch a fish, they come pick up your fish, they bring it in, weigh it in, and then release it for you. So you could sit in one spot all day, catch 15 fish, and never have to move.
I had no idea that was a thing.
So it's kind of like a safety thing, that way people aren't dragging in 30-pound fish every time they catch one. But yeah, so I've caught bull reds in that area before, but never during the tournament. I'm playing on my phone. I would be scrolling through TikTok if it existed then, but I don't know what I was doing. But my rod, bends over and I got a big fish on and I get it in the boat and I was 16 at the time. So I caught a few fish like that before, but really didn't have anything to judge it off of. And the guys in the boat were like, you're going to do something with that. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take your word for it. And they take the fish and they would post on Facebook when, they get new fish in with the leaderboard, and sure enough, I refreshed Facebook, and it's like Brock Miller is 34.56. I remember because it was 3456, and 34.56 pounds. And I was like, oh wow, I'm winning.
You were winning.
Yeah,
with that fish.
and I think there was like 400 people at that time in the tournament. I was like, okay, all right, well, I can't do anything else. I can try to catch another one. But I sat out there all day, then went in, and sure enough, it held that year, and ended up, taking home the top prize.
And there was no lead weights in the stomachs of the fish.
No lead weights. No, that was I remember I was fishing a tournament when that video came out, and it was like the talk.
That's crazy.
That was wild. Those guys don't need to be fishing anything.
I don't think they are. So for those listening or watching that are not aware of what happened, there was a fishing tournament where the people on the leaderboard actually stuffed metal weight or lead weights down the fish. It was like 2 or 3 pounds per fish.
Yeah, per fish.
And they had like
5 fish.
5 fish. Yeah. So they added 20 to 30 pounds of weight to their bag to take first place. And there's a viral video. I don't know if it's still up there or not, but there's a video on TikTok or Instagram or somewhere where there's actually at the weigh-in, they've got people because they were so over the weight of
they
everybody
weren't even
else.
close to
like
second
as I was saying, they weren't even. They were like
like they probably could have
so
won without lead weights, but then they beat second by 14 pounds or something crazy.
Something ridiculous. Yeah. And sure enough, there's a video. They're cutting it out and they're like pulling out these weights of these fish.
Oh, and then the cops get involved. I'm pretty sure they spent a couple nights in jail right then and there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I didn't read the whole. I read the headline, saw the video. Don't come after me.
And that's like I think it was walleye, which that's something we don't have down here, but like that'd be like a cheating in a big bass tournament or something,
Right.
Thousands of dollars they're going after.
Oh, and more than that, once you get up sponsorships and you get all those promotional fees, some
of them are doing full time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, those guys were. They had, they had their shirts on. I think it was like a $60,000 pot for that tournament. Just something ridiculous. Yeah. And the worst part, like when you look at the fish, they weren't even like easy to hide the weights because of how slim the fish were.
The guy he's like, I can feel the lead weight in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you won that tournament, and was that your first tournament you've ever had, or
so I'd fish Ride the Bull like a couple of years before that. It was like a yearly thing. We had a group that went down. We'd all fish it. A couple of guys had caught fish before in the past. But yeah, that was the first time I'd caught a fish in that tournament. Then I fished a couple of years after. Now I've kind of moved into helping with the tournament and with the chase boats and video and some stuff. In recent events.
Gotcha. So it's more now, what can you do to help the tournament go on and kind of keep the spirit of kayak fishing as a whole throughout the region and the area?
Yeah, and I love the idea, behind it of like catching, and they actually tag the bull reds when we catch them. So they take the data from them.
Oh, they tag them?
Yeah, so they tag them, and this past year, I think AFCO was involved, and they gave out like gift cards if the fish was recaptured or something like that. But yeah, I'm all about conservation and preserving the fishery and just all of our resources down here because we're losing a lot of it pretty quick. But that's what draws me to that tournament is the whole idea is to catch the fish and then release it.
Right. Well, and they take just your heaviest fish of the day, not necessarily.
There's a couple different categories. Like the main leaderboard is just your heaviest fish. You can't. I don't think you can be on the leaderboard more than once. But they also have like team categories with most fish and most weight, stuff like that. So there is some, you can still win if you stay out there and try to catch fish all day.
Gotcha. So what made you want to start actually documenting and recording your fishing adventures on a kayak?
I think back to, I don't know, I was like 15 or 16, made some terrible videos of, I don't know, like fly fishing in a pond or something. And I still see them in my mind. I'm like, gosh, those are awful. But I don't know. I had a couple of guys that I followed on YouTube. But really back then there wasn't a whole lot. So there was like 2 or 3 guys who posted, kayak fishing content. So I was like, you know what? I got a GoPro for like Christmas or something one year and started bringing it on the kayak and, just video and stuff. And I wouldn't always do something with it, but it was cool to just kind of look back on it. And then you kind of remember things that you did in the moment, or like reactions. Like I've got a couple of crazy topwater eats that I just freak out on, and I'm like, look back like, oh, you're an idiot. But, you look back on it and it's really cool to have those kind of memories.
Oh yeah, and the GoPro, or the invention of the GoPro, made it so accessible for outdoorsmen, for outdoors people to really capture what they were doing, because you had the Sportsman's Paradise channel. That was, my dad would watch it every weekend.
Yeah.
He was watching the Sportsman's Paradise
Uh-huh.
and just watching his people fishing and hunting and all that stuff. And then you had this GoPro come out where it's like, be your own, cameraman or whatnot.
Yeah.
And the ability for that to go and then take people to building these channels was just
100%.
just life changing.
Yeah, and there's so many things like when I caught that tarpon over in Florida, it like in my memory, I cannot remember a single thing that happened because it happened so fast, like the fish jumping out of the water and just the adrenaline that's pumping. If I didn't have the video, I couldn't tell you what happened. But now that I have that, like I know exactly, what happened and how the fish jumped and everything, but with all that adrenaline running through you, like that memory's just not there.
Well, I guess that's true. You don't ever, the memories you have when you're fishing or you're hunting is always the after the fact. It's not the in the moment. Or I guess if you're going on like a long elk stalk or a long whitetail stalk, maybe you have that memory. But the adrenaline,
when that gets
when you're fishing is just, especially when you got something on the line, like doing pier fishing in Grand Isle. Where you're just throwing like a half a chicken in the water, hoping for
you
something.
got a lot of time to think about it.
But then, like the moment when it's happening, it's that craziness of you're just like, got to get the fish in the water. Got to get the fish in the boat. Don't horse them. Don't play with them. Like just slowly, steadily get that fish to the kayak or the boat and get them in, so you can then do whatever you're gonna do with it from there.
Yeah, I mean, anytime, like I got a nice Sony camera and I take it duck hunting and kayak fishing and stuff, and like I always try to pull that out to just capture something from when I went, because it's so cool to look back on that, and then also just sharing it with people, because like I'm blessed to go kayak fishing all the time and hunting all the time, but a lot of people aren't, so they get to see my stuff and kind of enjoy what I've experienced. So I think that's the biggest thing with the social media stuff, is a lot of people don't get to do that, and then they see and follow just because they get to experience it through somebody else.
Well, and not everybody's also being so aware and cognizant of the fact that they should record it or they should bring a camera with them. I mean, yeah, you see it happen all the time on social media or TV where they're filming and they're doing all this and that, but a fraction of the population is like, let me film my own experiences.
Not everybody thinks about it.
Like you always have, I could do this, I could do that, but the people that actually make it happen, it's really cool to see what they're able to put together.
Yeah. And I've also had some times where like something really cool happened, I turn around, the camera's dead or off. I'm like, oh my gosh. It just happened recently, like a fish, ate at the boat, and I'm like, man, that's gonna be so sick. And I turn around, it's dead. So
We've had that happen for the show.
Yeah,
and we've had it a couple of times where we'll be like 15 minutes deep, and this was before Fly Focus Studio, so this is not a reflection of them. But there'd be times where we were like 10 minutes into the show, and they look at me and they're like, "Hey, can we back it up and redo like redo 15 minutes of content where we only do one take of everything?" Like, no, we can't redo that.
Oh, and that's the thing in the outdoors. It's like there's no redo.
Yeah, you can't say, "Hey, fish, come back, jump again, jump again, please." Like jump into the boat.
Exactly.
Porpoise, please come right here next to the boat.
You got to be on it.
So that technical side of things where you've got this gear and it could malfunction is always that risk factor when you're recording this.
Yeah.
So I've had some painful times where I've had to look back at content we've created and I'm like,
should have done
the mic wasn't on.
Yeah.
Or I've had one where I straight up had somebody's mic off for like 30 minutes before I realized it. And I'm sitting there. On? No, these are on, right? We got the thumbs up. So you in that moment, it's like an instant moment of regret that I feel you also miss out the opportunity. You miss out the feeling of enjoying the moment because you were so worried about capturing it. I mean, how do you evaluate that as well as like a content creator where you're trying to get this content, you're trying to capture it, but you also want to live in the moment and experience what you're doing?
Yeah, it's such a balance. Like I would say early on, I would get kind of caught up with it, and I've got to have my camera set up and got to have this drone shot and all this stuff. But now I wouldn't say it's second nature, but I kind of just like set it up, let it roll, and whatever happens, happens. And I feel like that's kind of the best content. You see some guys go out and they've, setting their angles and doing, all kinds of crazy stuff, trying to make something happen. I feel like it's better to just kind of set it up, let things happen, and like that just natural flow and content that typically does the best in my opinion.
Yeah, when you're just
not
there.
forced.
Yeah, when you're exactly forcing content or kind of forcing something to happen just to get the shot, just to get the angle. I mean, it comes across in the finished product that
100%.
it's not authentic.
Yeah.
Like if you've got somebody saying, "Hey, come back," like a touchdown pass that you miss. Oh, please run it again.
Yeah.
Jump back. Let's recreate
Yeah.
that moment. You can tell as the end user. That's not genuine, like it was staged,
Yeah. In the fishing space, you see it all the time. Like a guy sets the hook and then reels in a fish, and the fish is like limp. It's like, man, that's not genuine. That's not, But when you see the cast and then the hook set and the catch and the fish is lively, like that stuff is people just like seeing that. I feel like.
Well, and then also you have to take into account when you're consuming that type of outdoors content that they're showing you the highlights.
Oh yeah,
they're not like
not the 2
Brock's
hours.
not
before.
sitting there on his kayak for 2 hours just looking at the camera. Hey guys, we haven't caught a thing.
Yeah,
we haven't done anything today.
exactly.
We're just chilling. No fish are biting.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I've noticed with TikTok probably the most is you can like the stuff doesn't go away, but you can just post as much as you want. And like the behind the scenes stuff tends to do really well. Like it's not always just has to be a fish catch or something like that. Like rigging up your rods or, launching your kayak, like little stuff like that in the past, if we were putting on Instagram would never made the cut. You can put on TikTok and it may not go crazy, but it's, content you can put out there.
Well, what I've also started seeing is people who self-film their content are now, like it came across my feed today that they will record them going back and grabbing the camera and post those clips.
Seen that.
That behind the scenes, that stuff of you solo content creator, here's what they don't show you, lugging this camera or this tripod here to get that shot, or they're running back down the gravel road really quick so no one steals your phone. Like they don't show that side of things, but it tends to also perform pretty well.
Yeah.
Than the stuff where it's set up and you're actually getting the shot you're after, the walking away from the camera or what have you.
Yeah. I think Instagram and Facebook, for whatever reason, like that's like it has to be perfect. It has to be framed perfect and just like, edited and just the exact shot that people have in their mind. And then TikTok is just, any kind of video, just some of my best videos have maybe been holding up a fish and putting it back in the water and they get, 100,000 views. It's like, that's not interesting at all to me, but people just love it.
It's quick attention grabbing content on the TikTok where it's how do we get these people attention? How do we keep their attention? Whereas people on Instagram or Facebook are more, okay, we'll look at it if it's really good. This, especially now with the podcasting content, people are taking that in the longer forms and the shorter forms. And we were talking beforehand about doing that long form and then clipping up in a smaller form and the impact that has overall, where it's, maybe don't put an intro on this because people are losing interest because you've got a 2-second intro.
You got to jump right into
it. You got to jump right into it, it's crazy how much it matters.
Oh yeah. And it's like we were saying earlier, it's always evolving. Like when, TikTok first came about, I guarantee people weren't thinking like that. But now
they're like, what cool dance can I do?
Right, exactly. That was, I'm glad it's gone in the right direction since then. But yeah, it's wild how it's evolved and you see, like Gary Vee and a couple other people we talked about, it's so easy to emulate what they do and find success and stuff like this.
Yeah, and so you're doing something similar, right? You've got a long-form strategy that you're doing where walk us through your strategy.
Yeah, so, typically, like, we'll film a YouTube video on, let's say, a marine mat install or something like that. And it may be a 10, 15-minute video, but I can go back and really you don't have to edit anything else. You're just going in and splicing different little clips. And, I try to stay under 15 seconds for the most part for TikTok. But it could be just laying down one piece of marine mat and put that on TikTok and, just see how it does. It's all, trial and error. Like I posted one, what's that song? Is it like Everything She Ain't that was popular on TikTok?
I don't know it.
We played it, in the shop while we're rigging boats. We'll play music, and the audio picked it up. I was like, oh, let me throw this on there. It ended up doing well. It's just like little stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, film a long YouTube video, and then you can cut as many as you want out of it. And I'd say the biggest thing is don't be too particular about the shot. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just have some kind of content that may be interesting to some people, and if you put it up there, I guarantee it's gonna take off. And
there's somebody interested in every component of the content.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's a weird component where you're like looking at the camera and then you're looking down the shot and you're like, okay, wait, that's crooked, and then you're like, now I gotta take the whole thing off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just little stuff like that can make a difference. That behind the scenes, I feel like. I tell people Instagram is like a second website for your business, and then TikTok is just all the behind the scenes. And you can do a little bit of it on Instagram with stories and stuff like that, but I think people crave that other kind of angle on TikTok.
So have you seen? I'm guessing the answer is going to be yes. You've seen that different content. Have you ever posted the same video on both to see how they both perform?
A few. I try not to. It's kind of a tricky game. I do have some stuff that I'll edit for TikTok and make it look nice, and I'll put it on Instagram like as a reel as well. That's something that's Instagram's trying to compete with TikTok in that realm. So I have put some stuff, but there's other stuff like I will post on TikTok and never put it on Instagram, just for the fact that it doesn't really fit the aesthetic that that I'm looking for on there.
So then how do you have time to outfit these kayaks, man?
I still do a little bit of it. I actually have a guy who works for me. His name is Alex. He goes to LSU. I believe he's in construction management, but he's kind of similar to me. Just likes working with his hands and figuring stuff out. He didn't really have a background in kayaking or kayak fishing, but just boats and being outdoors and stuff. We actually got linked up through the LSU bass team. I was on that for a couple of years at LSU, and I needed some help, so I posted a little thing in our group message, and he reached out. So he's been helping me ever since. But for the most part, I'm able to kind of line up projects and let him get after it. And we've gone through some training on how I do certain things, and then other things I'm like, look, I trust you on this. Handle it how you think you should. So that's helped a ton, being able to have him do stuff, and then I can, either video him or, make posts and handle the marketing aspect of it.
So do you have your own space now for your shop, or you still operate out of a garage?
Yeah. So after the garage phase, I actually moved over to the Industrialplex Boulevard.
Okay.
So I
feel like a legit space.
Well, that was like the first little shop I was in, and I feel like all small businesses start on Industrialplex. It's just littered with people getting their start over there, and some stay. But I actually teamed up with Southern Oaks Athletic Club, which is over in Shenandoah.
Okay.
And we kind of teamed up, and I help them with some marketing and also help with their kind of paddleboard rentals and stuff like that over there. But my shop is also located over there. So moved into a nicer place I can kind of host events and have people come out and see everything.
Okay, so in that transition, was there a point in the business where you knew it was just time? Or how did that happen, going from parents' garage to Industrialplex?
Yeah, I mean, having 8 kayaks in the yard plus mine was definitely a telltale sign. And then also, there's also some brands like in the industry that won't sell to you unless you have a brick and mortar place. So that was another driving force. So if I wanted, let's say Yak Attack, which is a big accessories brand, I had to have a brick and mortar place to be able to open an account with them. So if I wanted to kind of take the next step into retail and actually have a lot of products on the website, I needed a place like that.
So walk us through the decision to go into retail and adding that as a different revenue stream for the business.
It definitely started, I kind of talked about it earlier, with like when somebody would come to me, in the beginning I would kind of have to say, all right, well, here's the link to purchase this battery and fish finder, and then you can bring it to me, and then basically I'm charging them the labor. So that kind of got the wheels turning, like, oh, I'm kind of leaving money on the table when, I'm sending them somewhere else to get a product. So I think that definitely is what drove me to the retail side. And then, eventually it morphed into like making my own products and kind of acquiring my own products to bring in. And, obviously, when you have your own product, you can sell it for a higher margin.
You set the sales price.
Right. Yeah. Well, a higher margin than when you're buying from somebody else. So that definitely helps.
So you have your own, so you call it LAC or LACK.
Uh-huh.
So do you have your own actual like LAC branded items?
Yeah. So I have a few, and some of them are like accessories specific to like a specific model kayak. Like Hobie came out with a new model kayak. I think it was about a year and a half ago, and I got it immediately because I knew if I could jump on that, new model, and I knew it was going to be popular, I can make products for it, and that's been like one of my best selling products is when I jumped on that new model, made products specifically for it, and then was able to sell it to other people who are looking for similar items.
So how do you work that? Like, do you have licensing agreements you got to do with these companies? I mean, your manufacturing relationship, what does that look like?
So some, like, I guess I kind of tell about, what type of products I have. So some of the products are actually made out of like marine starboard. So like there's a couple of motor mounts and just mounting plates that go on the seat of the kayak. And those I have it's called a Shapeoko CNC machine. It's, about this wide, probably 3 feet long. And it's a CNC machine, and that was a whole nother learning curve in itself, was figuring out how to I'm surprised it didn't blow it up in the beginning. But I bought that and started making products with that. And I, just get marine starboard and cut it out 17 times before I got it right. And then, start mass producing it, on the little sheets. So some of that stuff is just all created in house. I have the hardware to it. And then others, like I'll take a Yak Attack part and pair it up with one of my parts, and then, put it on the website as that. So it's kind of a, some of the stuff's my own, and then some I kind of bring multiple, items together.
Gotcha. So you're able to curate what specific product they kind of need for the outfit, and then also looking into kind of future developing of what will come on the market that you can be a part of from a construction side of things and also kind of a selling side of things.
Yeah, and it's also helped with like the customization of kayaks. Like I had a guy come in and he wanted 2 fish finders mounted on his kayak in a certain way that no other mount on the market could have sufficed for it. And so I was like, all right, let me do some drawing up and figure it out, and cut out 2 things on the CNC machine, and the next thing you know, he's got a low profile mount that he could pick his kayak up with, and it was super sturdy. So that's the other, kind of side of it is, I mass produce stuff with it, but also like one-off things it may take me a little bit of time. And that's one of the things that I don't always make as much money off of. But when somebody sees a kayak with 2, a 9-inch and a 7-inch fish finder on it, they're like, dang, that's really cool. I haven't seen that before.
So why do you need 2 fish finders?
Oh, we're getting into the specifics of it. I personally wouldn't have it on mine, but it's typically the bass guys. They like having it comes from the bass boat world. A lot of guys.
So it's like 2 different views they leave it on.
Yeah.
I mean, what is, if you got, don't they do the same thing at the end of the day?
So I've done a couple of big builds, and they're always bass fishermen, and I think it comes from just the bass industry. The guys with $80,000 boats, and they've got 5 fish finders on them, and all the electronics. So it's really transitioned into the kayak space. I haven't seen one with 3 yet, but I'm sure it's coming. But they do typically use like one for maps or one for forward-facing sonar, which is a big thing that we do a lot of installs on. So it's, I personally wouldn't run it, but some guys, they got to have it. And, hey, we'll figure out a way to put it on there for them.
So I want to, if you're open, I want to hear some horror stories.
Oh, horror stories.
Of like either being on the water in the kayak or decking out someone's kayak and it like went like completely wrong. If there are any, I have no idea.
I have. So my mom's going to watch this, and she already knows it happened, and she gets mad at me every time I talk about it. So this was before I had the bull. I can't remember what year it was, but I went out with Chris Holmes, who is a writer for Louisiana Sportsman, and my dad and my brother, and we were going to get some content for an article that Chris was going to do on catching bull reds with these big rattle traps, which that's another Louisiana brand. And I was like watching the weather, and I was like, And the place we go is like in the middle of a bay, pretty much. There's like one specific spot, and the borers just school up, and you can catch them easy if they're there. And I was watching the weather, and I was like, we probably shouldn't go, but we got to get this done. So we went anyway. And I think we'd caught a couple fish, but we really didn't have what we needed. And I look up, and it's just a wall of rain coming at us. And I'm like, oh, rain, that's not that bad. And then we were like, maybe we should head in, and it turns into, 3-foot rollers and just whiteout rain. And I have a GoPro video of it, and I didn't tell my mom it happened, but she sees it on my Instagram or something. She's like, what were you doing? And you can see my little brother in the background. He was 11 at the time, just pedaling his own kayak. And I was like, he was fine. I was right there. But that's probably the worst scenario I've ever been in. I've gone in the winter sometimes and gotten wet and gotten cold, but being caught in a storm
it's never fun.
Oh no.
And it's worse when you're like 30 miles offshore.
Yeah.
I love deep sea fishing.
Oh yeah, I do
so
too.
like 30, 40, 50, 60 miles offshore, and you just see those storms just pop up and just head towards it's like they have a beacon.
Oh yeah,
they just head straight
right
towards
to
the boat.
Yeah. Oh, we've had our fair share of that, and I better not talk about those. Those are in the boat, so we'll leave that out of it.
Much safer.
Much safer. Yeah.
So like, what about rigging out someone's kayak? Has something ever gone like horribly wrong?
I wouldn't say anything horribly wrong. I'm of the mindset like I'll figure it out. So if something's not, doesn't work out exactly like I thought, like I'm gonna figure out another way to do it. I have taken a guy, and we did a bunch of work on his kayak. It was probably the biggest build I've ever done. It had 2 fish finders, like 2 motors, lights, the whole 9. And we took it out, and I won't mention the brand, but this kayak rides pretty low on the water. And I'm like, I have my camera out, and I'm taking pictures and kind of going all around him, and I hear water like rushing in, and I'm like, do you hear that? He goes, yeah, I do. Can you look back here in the hatch? And I do, and the boat's like sinking as we're out there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get you in. And so luckily we weren't far, but his 10 more minutes, he'd have sank the kayak. Oh my gosh. And it was a manufacturer kind of issue, and we kind of rigged it up to where it wouldn't happen again. But that's
resolved the issue.
Yeah, resolved the issue. They don't make that boat anymore, by the way. But that's probably the worst experience like that.
My gosh, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's that the horror stories are always kind of fun to hear, because it's like the lessons you learn out of it,
100%,
are so important and so impactful going forward, that if X, Y, and Z is happening because of a bad experience, I know how to resolve it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I'm big on like learning by seeing something happen or seeing it done. So in some cases that means learning the hard way on a lot of things, but like that's how I feel like you really learn. Like you can tell me something all day, but I want to see it done or do it myself, and then I'll really, understand.
Absolutely. So speaking of learning, as we start to wind down the show, we have like a set list of 4 questions we like to ask everybody. Mm-hmm. And the first one of those being, what are 3 lessons you've learned along the way?
Definitely managing money. When I, in the beginning, I'm just, working, trading time for money, and, there's really not a lot of overhead aside from some rope or whatever that I used on the install or the repair. So when you start getting inventory and learning, I can order this much, sell it in a month, or, order a set amount, and just kind of balancing that. That'd definitely be a big one. The whole advertising thing and just like not being set on one specific way to advertise and kind of roll with, trends and new things. That's definitely been another learning kind of curve to it. The third one, I guess just, kind of being able to roll with the punches. Not everything, like, I'd say 3 years ago, I wasn't planning on having a kayak fishing business, and now, like, this is where I'm at. So you really can't be set on one specific thing or one specific outcome. There's always going to be a bump in the road or, like, a change of plans, and, if you're super set on one thing, you're probably going to run into a wall. You're not going to get any further. So, just kind of being flexible and rolling with the punches is definitely
Got to be able to pivot, man.
Oh, that's it. Pivot.
Got to be able to pivot.
That's
pivot when you have to.
Yeah.
So, I feel like you're living this answer, but what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Oh, I wish I could fish every day. That was something. My grandparents had a pond in where we lived in Central, and I would like go grab my dinner off the dinner table and go hop on the pond.
Love that. It's even better when you go out there to the pond, you catch your dinner.
Oh yeah,
and then
there
you
you
come back
go.
into the house.
There you go. Yeah, but you couldn't keep me off of that thing. But I don't know. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the woods and a lot of time, on the water, so I can't really complain about any of that.
So being a Baton Rouge boy, going to Catholic High, LSU, what is something you love about the area?
I mean, the culture, the food, there's nothing like Louisiana. When you go other places and you travel, the roads are a lot nicer and a lot of stuff's cleaner, but you can't like beat the culture. I especially love South Louisiana, like Grand Isle, all those Golden Meadow, all those places. That's like, I love just going down there. I could spend every day down there. So I'd say definitely the culture. And I like traveling. I like, going to Texas to hunt and just went skiing for the first time and experienced all that. But there's nothing that compares to down here.
Heck yeah, sportsman's paradise, man.
That's it. And like I don't think if I lived anywhere else, I would have gotten to experience all the hunting and fishing and, inshore fishing, offshore fishing, bass fishing, just stuff that I love to do. Like it's hard to find a place that has all that.
Yeah, especially within reasonable driving distances of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours north, ducking, deer hunting, and of course you can do it anywhere, but that's where we go. And then 2 hours south, you're catching trout and redfish.
Love it, man. So for the final question, what can I do to help you?
I mean, as far as I know, we talked about it earlier, all the connections that you have, and I'm sure I have some that I can hook you up with to get on the show. But I mean, that's kind of why I like doing stuff like this is, I know you have a big, I guess, book of business and people you talk to on a daily basis, and I do as well. So I think we can kind of help each other out and grow from it.
Yeah, we'll exchange Palm Pilots and see what the contacts are in there.
There you go. Uh-huh.
So thank you, man, for coming on the show. And what is the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
Mm-hmm. I mean, social media is definitely a good way to get in touch with me, with whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and even YouTube. And then lacustomkayaks@gmail.com is the email that I check the most. So that'd be the best way to get in touch with me. But yeah, that's it.
Perfect, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for volunteering to be in episode 1 of 2023, man.
I'd say we did all right.
Oh, yeah, we crushed it.
We did pretty good.
We did great. We had some good stories, some good times,
Yeah.
man. Hopefully your mom doesn't yell at you too much.
Oh, no, that was in the past. We're all still here.
Well, thank you so much, Brock, for coming on the show. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you sharing your story with everybody. And thank you, everybody else, for watching or listening to the show. I greatly appreciate it. Now, the guests do as well. We're in it now. We're in 2023. We're rocking and rolling. I hope to see y'all in the next one and hear from y'all. Let us know if you have a guest in mind that you think we should have on the show. We're going to do our best to incorporate any business and every business that we can in the community. So we don't know of everybody, and I'm sure you know of somebody that we don't. So be sure to reach out to us, whether it's email, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever social media platform you're on, or go straight to our website and reach out to us from there, and we'll do our best. So thank y'all so very much, and thank you to the amazing sponsors that make this show possible each and every week, coming your way right now.
Sell your home for a $399 flat fee with Falaya. No, seriously. Falaya will list your home on the MLS and help you get all the way to the closing table for as little as a $399 flat fee. Our online platform is insanely easy to use and will save you thousands. If you're thinking about selling your home in 2022 and want to keep more of your hard-earned equity in your pocket, you need to check out Falaya. Falaya, real estate reimagined.
Thank you all so very much for listening to this episode of the Patty G Show, brought to you by Government Taco. They're located on the corner of Government Street and Jefferson Highway. Jay is always slinging up a new taco of the month, so if you're a frequenter to Government Taco, let us know in the comments what you thought about this month's taco of the month. If you're not a frequenter, maybe trying out this month's taco might just convert you. Big thanks over to them at Government Taco for making the Patty G Show possible.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pentis is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. How they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you. McLavy's Limited, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show, has been serving the Baton Rouge area proudly for 40-plus years. Gentlemen and ladies, if you're shopping for your man, there is no other place in the Baton Rouge area to get your clothing, whether it's game day needs, everyday needs, business attire, formal attire, whatever you want. Go over there, see Frank and Ashley. It's a father-daughter duo. They do incredible things in their store. They will outfit you from as simply a shirt that you need for one evening or all the way to a full wardrobe overhaul. They're going to take care of you every step of the way, and be sure and let them know that Patty G Show sent you.
Simple man, don't want a complication. Complication.